Chinedu clung to the hair in the small village of Obinago. 15-year-old Chinedu watched his mother, Nkem, as she pounded yam with practiced rhythm. Her face lined with years of hardship. Chinedu's father, Emeka, had died when he was just a baby, leaving his mother to raise him alone. Though poor, their bond was unbreakable. One day, his uncle Ikenna arrived from the city, a wealthy businessman dealing in building materials. Ikenna was greeted with respect and curiosity. Nkem, desperate to secure a better future for her son, seized the opportunity to plead with Ikenna. My brother, she said, her voice trembling, Chinedu is a good boy. Take him with you. Let him walk and learn from you. Please give him a chance. Ikenna's eyes glinted with false generosity. I'll train him to be a man, he declared. In 15 years, I will settle him with a shop of his own. Ikem's heart soared with hope as Chinedu hugged her tightly before leaving for the city. Life in Ikenna's home was far from the dream Chinedu imagined. He was given rags to wear and leftover scraps to eat. Ikenna's wife and sons, Chukwudi and Obina, treated him like a slave. Only Amaka, the youngest daughter, showed him kindness, secretly slipping him food and offering encouraging words. After 2 years of servitude, Chinedu was allowed to accompany Ikenna to the shop. There he learned the intricacies of the building materials business, working long hours without complaint. Despite the maltreatment, he remained honest and diligent, hoping Ikenna would keep his promises. One day, as Chinedu told her at the shop, Ikenna's thoughts betrayed his jealousy. This boy works harder than my own sons, but he's just a village boy. If I give him too much, he will rise above us. No, I must keep him in his place. From that moment, Ikenna began exploiting Chinedu further, justifying his actions with bitterness over his own struggles. 15 years passed, and Chinedu, now a young man, approached Ikenna to remind him of his promise. Uncle, you said you settled me after 15 years. I've worked hard and stayed loyal. Ikenna waved him off. Business is bad, Chinedu. Give me more time. Discerning but patient, Chinedu continued working. 5 more years went by, and his mother, tired of waiting, approached the village elders. They pressured Ikenna to fulfill his promise, and he reluctantly agreed to settle Chinedu within 6 months. But just weeks before the deadline, Ikenna and his sons hatched a cruel plan. They planted 1 million naira in Chinedu's bag and accused him of theft. Chinedu pleaded his innocence, but Ikenna's fury silenced him. You are a thief! Leave my house and never return! Humiliated and penniless, Chinedu returned to the village only to find his mother had collapsed and died upon hearing the news. Chinedu wept for days and stayed back to mourn his mother. Now an orphan, Chinedu moved to a bustling market. Working as a porter, he carried heavy goods for small wages, often going hungry. One day, he helped an old woman carry her groceries to her car. She offered him money, but he declined. You remind me of my late mother, he said with a bittersweet smile. I can't take your money. The woman was touched. 2 weeks later, she returned and introduced herself as Madam Grace. My son, Honorable James, owns a large car parts warehouse in Port Harcourt. Would you like to work for him? Chinedu's heart leaped with hope. Yes, ma. I'll be grateful. Honorable James welcomed Chinedu warmly within a week of his arrival. James' business experienced an unprecedented boom. A 50 billion naira contract landed on his desk, and his wife, after years of trying, discovered she was pregnant. You are a blessing to my family. James declared he adopted Chinedu as a son, eventually giving him 1 billion naira to start his own business. In 5 years, Chinedu's success soared. He became a wealthy entrepreneur with warehouses across the region, employing hundreds of workers. During this time, Chinedu's connection to Honorable James's family deepened, particularly with his younger sister, Adaeze. She was a beautiful, intelligent woman with a heart for helping others. Their bond began as friendship, growing stronger with every shared moment. One evening, under the glow of a garden filled with twinkling fairy lights, Chinedu knelt before Adaeze, holding a small velvet box. Adaeze, I've faced storms I thought would never end, but meeting you was like finding the sun after years of darkness. You saw beyond my struggles and believed in me when I doubted myself. Will you marry me? Tears filled her eyes as she smiled. Yes, Chinedu, you've shown me what love really means. Their wedding was a grand celebration filled with joy and blessings. It symbolized the merging of two hearts and two families. Meanwhile, Ikena's fortune dwindled. His son squandered his wealth and fled, leaving him in poverty. One day, two ragged men arrived at one of Chinedu's warehouses, seeking work. Chinedu's manager hired them as laborers. During a surprise visit, Chinedu recognized them as Chukwudi and Obina. Take me to your father, Chinedu said. When Ikenna saw Chinedu, he fell to his knees, sobbing, Forgive me, my son. I wronged you. Chinedu lifted him up. Uncle, I forgave you long ago. Holding on to bitterness would have destroyed me. Here is 50 million naira to start over. Use it wisely. Chukwudi and Obina lash out at their father, blaming him for their misfortunes. They become increasingly bitter towards Chinedu's success. Ikenna sits in a tattered armchair staring at the fading walls of his home. Chukwudi and Obina stand nearby, their voices dripping with anger. All this is your fault, father. You let that boy, that nobody, walk away while we are left to rot. Ikenna said weakly, Chinedu earned what he has. He worked harder than either of you ever did. Obina sneered, Don't defend him. He's no better than us. He's just lucky. Mark my words. We'll take back what should have been ours. Ikenna looked at his sons with a mix of shame and helplessness, sensing the darkness growing within them. Chukwudi and Obina's envy becomes a topic of conversation in the marketplace, where whispers of their resentment spread. In a crowded market, two traders discuss Chinedu's recent rise to wealth. Have you heard? Chinedu is now one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the region. Imagine from a porter to a millionaire. Ha. Yes, so, but his cousins don't share the joy. They said they've been cheated. Cheated? Nonsense. That boy worked for everything he has. Those two just want to trade to ride on his success. Ah, Chukwudi, overhearing the conversation, clenches his fist and storms away, muttering under his breath. They'll see. Everyone will see. Ha! They will see. Madam Grace, who has grown fond of Chinedu, senses danger and warns him about his cousins. During a quiet afternoon, Madam Grace invites Chinedu to her home for tea. She looks at him with a motherly concern. Chinedu, I've been hearing whispers about Ikena's sons. Be careful. Jealousy makes people dangerous. Chinedu smiling softly. Thank you, Ma. But I don't think they'll harm me. Family may quarrel, but blood is thicker than water. Madam Grace shakes her head solemnly. Blood may be thick, my son, but greed can poison even the strongest bonds. Watch your back. Chinedu's smile falters, but he nods, filing her words away. 6 months later, Chukwudi and Obina, consumed by greed, plotted to kill Chinedu to inherit his wealth. They conspired with his chef to poison his food, ensuring the death of Chinedu, his wife, and their baby to eliminate any heirs. The chef, loyal to Chinedu, pretended to agree but secretly informed him of the plot. Heartbroken, Chinedu reported the conspiracy to the police. Chukwudi and Obina were arrested and sentenced to 50 years in prison for attempted murder. When Ikenna heard the news, he slumped from shock and grief. Years after his success, Chinedu stands on the balcony of his mansion, overlooking the bustling city. Adaeze joins him, carrying the young son. You've come so far, Chinedu. Do you ever think about where it all began? Chinedu says, every day I think about Mama pounding yam in our little hut, about the promises that were broken and the trials I faced. But I also think about the kindness that saved me. The people like Madam Grace and Honorable James who believed in me. He picked up his son, gazing into the child's wide, curious eyes. I want him to grow in a world where no child has to suffer the way I did. That's why we'll continue building schools, hospitals, and businesses, not just for profits, but to give others a chance. Later in the evening, Adaeze smiled, resting her head on Chinedu's shoulder. Together they watched as the legacy of hope and resilience began to take shape in the next generation. Chinedu returns to Obinago, where a newly built school stands. The villagers gathered to celebrate the opening, cheering his name. Chinedu, Chinedu, Chinedu. A plaque at the entrance reads, dedicated to Inkem, whose love and sacrifice inspired generations. Chinedu addresses the crowd, his voice steady but filled with emotion. This village made me who I am. I was once a boy with nothing but dreams. My mother taught me that even in hardship, we must never lose hope. This school is my way of saying thank you to her. And to all of you, let's build a brighter future together. The villagers erupt in applause as Chinedu steps away, holding Adaeze's hand. He looks to the horizon, the weight of his struggles replaced by the hope of what lies ahead.